Okay, authors Micheal Sears and Stanley Trollip has continued in fine form with the 5th installment of the Kubu Detective series, this time in A Death in the Family. Their deep understanding of African issues and the use of narrative that excites, Sears and Trollip has created another Kubu offering that is seamless and a complex mystery with a fascinating look at modern-day Africa. I'm joined by Micheal Sears and Stanley Trollip to share their insights in this series. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Look, the 5th installment starts with a bit of a bang. Going to be interesting for those that haven't read it yet. Just give us a brief synopsis, and I'm going to throw this because you're both co-authors of the series. Just give us a bit of a synopsis of the 5th installment.
There are two parts to it. One is the Kubu's father is murdered, and that, of course, moves him away from the investigation because he would contaminate it. And the second part is the growing role of the Chinese in Africa going after African resources.
Micheal, it's that interesting thing that I really found interesting. You actually observed an actual interaction, or because there's a real background to the story. This is just not completely fabricated.
Right. All our stories have got some sort of background story issue which we bring out in the books. In this case, it's the interaction between the Chinese groups in Africa, in Botswana in particular, which is where our books are set, of course, where there's friction between the people. The Chinese keep themselves to themselves. They build areas, villages. There's not a lot of interaction with the local people. They don't bring the local people into the labor force and so on. And that, of course, causes friction between the groups. And that's one of the themes in the book, in fact, which comes very much to the fore in our fictional mine in Shoshong.
Stanley, I don't know of any writing pair in South Africa, especially around the crime series. This, for me, is very unique. Talk to me about this collaborative process. How does it work? Who's Kubu?
Who's Kubu? I think we're both Kubu. we both like to eat and we both like to drink. And Kubu, as you know, in Setswana means a hippopotamus, and that, in a sense, is what he looks like. But the collaboration started many years ago. We both, in our separate professional lives, collaborated a lot. And we were both in Botswana in the mid-'80s when we saw a pack of hyenas attack and kill and eat a wildebeest in about 4 hours. And we said that's the way we would get rid of a body if we needed to, because nothing is left. And then about 15 years later, we decided to write a book, and we have worked together since 2003.
Micheal, what's the formula here? Because from the very first book, it's been recognized for various awards, book 3 as well. You've seemed to hit a road or something between the two of you that not only has great pace, fantastic formula. What is it?
Well, I think the way we do the books is quite interesting. We try and brainstorm the plot. Usually we don't get too far with the plot before we say, let's start writing and see where it goes. And then one of us will write one section, the other one will write another chapter, perhaps in parallel, and we'll swap them over, and then we bring them together. So we often say, there actually is a Micheal Stanley somewhere between the two of us. Neither of us would have written the same book. And perhaps that melding, that meshing of our ideas and interests and styles is what keeps the flows of the book going well.
We're very, very seldom in the same town when we write, because I spend a lot of time in the States and in Cape Town, and Micheal is here in Johannesburg. So the only time we really get together is to come on SABC 2 and
launch the books.
Let's talk about using Africa as this beautiful organic background that you've woven into this detective mystery series so well. And I think many people, I don't even know if you interact with the readers, but what have you, as part of, I almost see you as ambassadors, because you're sharing so much of Africa that most people that haven't traveled here will get a sense of, Stanley?
One of the things that we really love is we get the occasional email from our readers, from our fans, who say that because they've read our books, they've actually gone and visited Botswana in South Africa. and that is extremely satisfying for us.
So you start this collaborative process in the early part of 2000 around this series, and then it goes on to win awards. What does that say to you about Kubu? Should Kubu not be a TV character or a movie character?
Well, we definitely think so. And, if there's anybody out there who would like to talk to us about that, we're definitely available. As of 7:45 this morning.
But you did promise me a part in the movie, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you weren't specific. I think I'm going to be making tea or coffee. Talk to me about this crime detective formula that you guys have gotten right. It's the 5th installment. Readers are absolutely loving it. This one, of course, you start the book with an epic emotional problem for Kubu, and you then deal with the other issues in the background. But you've got a formula. What is that formula?
I think what sets Kubu aside from most other sort of literary detectives, if you like, is that he's a really nice guy. Many of the detectives in fiction are hard-boiled, womanizing, drinking, smoking people who have all sorts of emotional problems. And what Kubu and his family are a tight unit. And so the dark parts of the book are always contrasted by his relatively happy family life.
Okay, we've run out of time, but we did have a discussion on who could potentially play Kubu if it ever went, and I'm pushing this on. Hopefully there's a director somewhere that's watching. We're either thinking of Don Cheadle or Forrest Whitaker.
Right.
Yeah, well, they've not ruled me out completely. I'll put on more kilograms. Anyway, co-writers Micheal Sears and Stanley Trollip, who are behind the very successful Detective Kubu crime novel series, which has released the 5th book, and it's called A Death in the Family. And look, it's one of those great little gifts. If you want to buy a gift, birthday, holiday, anything, go and get this book. It's available at all good bookstores, and it's coming out on Tuesday, the 7th of September, so you need to stand in that queue. Pre-order them now. It's a good way to go.